This video contains some harsh language and a bit of gore. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Mr. K. Sardonicus, and welcome to my Vault of Horror. To those of you who are returning, welcome back, and to those of you who are just joining us, I hope you enjoy your stay. Today, since it's November, I am going to be doing a Thanksgiving special today. A couple of weeks early, about a week or so early, but it'll give you plenty of time to check these movies out. This is my top 6 Thanksgiving movies to watch this season. So, without further ado, let's get into this intro. Now, before we begin this list, I want to explain to you this list and, the rules behind it. Some of these movies are not, particularly taking place on Thanksgiving, but they have Thanksgiving vibes. But a good percentage of these movies are Thanksgiving horror movies. So, don't worry, I didn't just pick some randos out and assume that they're Thanksgiving. I know every single one of these movies, and they feel like something that you could watch during this time of year. So without further ado, let's get to number 6.
Go team, Johnny.
Ghost in Hell.
At number 6, I'm going to give this movie some attention because it's a cult classic for a reason. Despite it being fucking terrible, it is literally just made so cheaply, but it has a charm to it despite the bad acting, the bad effects, the whole deal. And that is Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is just a weird, bonkers, just so bad it's good, killer turkey movie. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but as most of you horror fans know, Thanksgiving is just one of those movies that you put up there with Troll 2 or something like that as one of the worst horror movies that you could ever possibly see, but they're still so entertaining despite how bad they are. And there is a sequel called Thanksgiving 3, and no, there isn't a 2, and that's the point. It's making fun of the horror genre. And it's crazy how they do that. But I gotta give it to the first one because, man, it was just a ridiculous time, and I seriously think that if you're just looking for something to watch when you're really, really drunk after eating a bunch of Thanksgiving turkey, it's probably gonna give you a good chuckle or two. So I gotta give number 6 to Thanksgiving. At number 5, we have another ridiculous bonkers movie, but this is from the legendary Troma. This is Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead. This was one of my favorite movies to rent as a teenager at the video store. It is so ridiculous. And no, it doesn't take place on Thanksgiving. But it has Thanksgiving vibes because of the eating of poultry, of chicken. Literally, this ripoff of KFC builds a restaurant there on an Indian burial ground, and it brings to life the food of the restaurant and turns people into chicken zombies. Like chicken humanoid zombie creatures. And it's filled with crazy gore and humor and over the top, just everything. It's everything that you want in a Troma movie. And by the way, they're having a sequel in development right now. Poultrygeist, Dawn of the Chicken Dead. And I'm fucking excited for that because I love Troma. And this is definitely one of my favorite Troma movies. So I definitely think that Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead, if you want something gross and just something that will make you laugh at the same time after eating a Thanksgiving meal, you gotta give it to this one.
I love it here.
The police are here!
My God! It's the time. The most magical time of the year.
Got your doorbusters right here, motherfucker.
At number 4, once again, this doesn't take place on Thanksgiving, but it takes place around it, and you'll understand once I explain the title to you. This is the modern horror cult classic, Black Friday. This movie has a stacked cast, like with Jaleel White. I think that's it. No, wrong name. I'll have my mascot come up with the answer right up here. Anyways, it also has Bruce Campbell and a couple of other actors that I can't remember off the top of my head. But this is like a demonic zombie movie almost. Like it's a zombie movie that takes place on Black Friday. But the thing is like these zombies don't look like rotted corpses. They look like almost like Deadites from the Evil Dead. They're deformed and creepy looking. And the workers at this mall literally have to defend themselves against the infected on Black Friday. Imagine already dealing with the stress of Black Friday, having to work somewhere, and then a fucking demonic zombie attack happens at your store and you're forced to defend yourself. That's a hell of a Black Friday right there, and I'm glad I never had to go through any shit like that. Whew! But seriously, all in all, Black Friday is one of the best modern cult classics of this recent decade. I seriously think that it deserves more love. I think you guys should watch it too, right after a Thanksgiving meal.
Parang having a pudding.
At number 3, we have another movie that doesn't take place on Thanksgiving, but it has to do with a large family feast. So it could lean into Thanksgiving a little bit. This is another modern horror movie that came out within this recent decade. It's known as The Feast. The Feast is a slow burn, like, folk horror movie that truly deserves more attention than it gets. I don't really want to describe it to you too much because then it would spoil everything. But let's just say that a very odd family with dark secrets that's having a feast hires a maid to help them. Well, the maid also has dark intentions too. And that's as far as I'll get into the movie. This is a fucking intense, slow burn movie that, and once it gets going, once it gets to the gross shit and the gnarly, twisted shit, you're not going to forget it for a while. This literally is one of the few movies that make me feel like I need to take a fucking shower. You know, The Feast is like a horror artist's wet dream. Like, this is something that, like, is both twisted, grotesque, beautiful, and scary all at the same time. And I guarantee you that you won't forget it. And I gotta give The Feast its love, and that's why it's number 3.
There's somebody after me and he's chasing me and he's trying to hurt me. You're gonna hurt my kitty. Oh, God.
You're a real sweetheart. You know that? A real sweetheart.
It's not cranberry sauce, Artie. It's not cranberry sauce.
At number 2, and I'm just letting you know that these next 2 picks are Thanksgiving horror movies. I promise you. So, number 2 is an underrated 80s slasher that I know many horror fans know of and love to this day, if they have watched it, and that is Blood Rage. Blood Rage is one of those amazing 80s slashers that holds nothing back. Nothing. Blood Rage is literally about these twin brothers, when they were kids, literally one of them being framed for murder and the other one being guilty of the murder. And so the one not guilty of the murder that was framed literally gets put into the asylum for years. And the killer brother literally gets to be a free man for most of his life. And then when he finds out his brother broke out, he decides to go on, his killer brother decides to go on a killing spree again. And it is filled to the brim with Thanksgiving puns. Like, literally, one of the most iconic 80s slasher quotes is, "It's not cranberry sauce. It's not cranberry sauce." And this movie is absolutely amazing. It's one of the rarities where a slasher takes place on Thanksgiving. There aren't very many Thanksgiving horror movies as there are Christmas or Halloween, you know. So when we get a Thanksgiving slasher, you know, it's fantastic, especially when it's done well. And you'll find out with number 1. But the thing is that Blood Rage is still one of the most underrated 80s slashers. And if you want something that takes place on Thanksgiving, has really twisted Thanksgiving puns, while still being graphic and intense all at the same time, you gotta give it to Blood Rage. Blood Rage is my number 2. Now, before we get to number 1, I would like you guys to please comment, like, subscribe. Let's talk about our favorite Thanksgiving horror movies. I want to thank you guys so much for everything that you've been doing so far. Almost to 110 subscribers now, so that is great. But now, let's not waste any more time, and let's get to number 1.
Let's see.
At number 1, we have the most recent Thanksgiving slasher, directed by the legendary modern body horror and just straight up splatter gore director Eli Roth. This is Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving has been a movie in the making since the mid-2000s, when his fake trailer coming from the Grindhouse double feature back in the day appeared, and we witnessed a glorious fake trailer of what could have been Thanksgiving, an 80s slasher movie that was gonna pull no punches and was gonna be completely disturbing, graphic, gory, and everything. But it wasn't until a couple years ago that we even got it. So we waited almost 2 decades, maybe more, just for this movie alone. And boy, did it fucking deliver. Even without an unrated cut, this movie goes harder than a lot of modern modern slashers out there. And especially for it being rated R. Like, here's the thing. A lot of modern slashers these days, they are literally unrated. Or some of them are R, but they don't go as hard as they could. But Thanksgiving, man, Eli Roth delivers the gore, the creepiness, the Thanksgiving horror goodness that you were hoping for in this movie when you saw it. I loved it. I love the fact that they introduced a new horror icon with John Carver, and the mask is creepy, the outfit is perfect. I seriously think that this is literally an absolute classic that needs to be watched every single time that Thanksgiving hits every single year. Because this is by far one of the best, holiday horror movies of all time. Holiday slashers, Thanksgiving slashers in general. I love Blood Rage, but Thanksgiving, man, that put more than into my heart, because I've been waiting for that movie since I was a teenager. And since I'm an adult and I finally got to see it, and I grew up finally being able to see it come into fruition, I'm a very happy man. And I'll tell you what, Thanksgiving deserves to be my number 1. And that is it, everybody. Now, I would like you guys to comment what your favorite Thanksgiving movies are. Do you agree with my list? Do you not agree with my list? What would you put on here? I would love to know in the comments. And thank you guys so much again for being here with me this entire year. I got one more video coming up at the end of the month. Just stay tuned for it. I'll get it all taken care of real soon. But anyways, until next time, I'll see you guys later.